That's the doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Hey, welcome to the People's Weekly, December 28th, the last show of the year. How are you today, Glenn?
Oh, happy holidays.
I mean, Merry Christmas.
Whatever.
You don't want to start a war. I'm trying to tweet the show out right now. Here we go. Done. So yeah, so it's the last show of the year. We're starting off with a bang. Really exciting so far. How much more monotone can I be? We promised all tangents this time, which is unheard of for this show. To have a tangent in it.
It's a revolutionary concept.
Oh yeah, you said that what it would be. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the People's Weekly New Year's Spectacular.
Whee!
Yeah. See, the people thought there was going to be some big build-up of music, but that was it. So what's going on with the view up here, Glenn? There's a very special episode coming soon, right?
Yeah, one more show left in the year. Tomorrow night, usual start time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, with a special guest, Stanley Cohen, on the shelf life of Kool-Aid. Is that a little open-ended? Yeah, fuck yeah. It's supposed to be. We will have a few general starting points, I guess. One of them is anticipatory obedience. Timothy Snyder's used it a lot lately. This is a big factor. I mean, you can talk about how fascism takes a grip. Well, there's a difference between apathy, which, people obey by not doing anything. And then there's the anticipatory obedience, which is, I guess it's a human behavioral trait. There's never a shortage of people to run up behind a strongman. Most of the time they're the target, but, it doesn't matter, apparently. Anticipatory obedience is a big factor in what's going on today, especially in the U.S. Vichy journalism, which is a term that was created out of France in World War II. It used to be that journalism that was complete propaganda to work against the people was only for political means. Well, now there's a new added feature. It's been monetized. And now it's being done for profit.
Yeah.
And that's only brought more determination to it, I guess. That's a tough one because, it can be argued both ways, but, just take a look at history and take a look at what's happening now, and it's pretty hard to figure out who's the real problem and who's the distraction. Then there's one that I wanted to talk about, and this one pisses people off, especially boomers. But a man named G.K. Chesterton coined the phrase, tradition is democracy of the dead. And I think there's a lot of that shit going on right now. When you get to the point where people just keep saying that's what we've always done, that's the way we've always done it, When does the point come where that is a roadblock to progress, to evolution, to a better future? You know? What point is tradition used to drown out advances that make sense? You know? And they're just interested in protecting the status quo. So, I mean, I've already been blocked by 2 boomer women on Twitter for throwing that phrase at them, that tradition is democracy of the dead. You know, change is bad, change is scary. And that's a common theme in the way everything's being sold. It doesn't matter what the change you're creating fear over is, whether it's political, racial, gender-based, whatever. Change is bad. But there's a commonality in all these subjects, and that's what do they all look to exploit? What's their way in? What's their trigger? It's feels. And the truth remains, feelings are not facts. But not everybody has facts, but everybody has feels. So, ka-ching, you know?
Ka-ching.
And, you know, considering it's Stanley, I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about. I mean, I've been tweeting out the show, and Stanley has been replying, and some of his comments are, tune in as we tear down the old world and strive for the new one. So I think he's on board with where I took this episode. So I'm looking forward to it. That's tomorrow night.
Yeah, you guys always do good shows together.
No, I don't see how you can do a bad show with Stanley. It's impossible.
Let him come on my show.
Ask him.
Oh, no, I was just being sarcastic. Like how you do a bad show. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, the third volume of Music to Riot To comes out next week, and that'll be called Rage Against the Enemy. It'll be all Public Enemy, Rage Against the Machines, and loosely related other groups.
Right on.
So that should be a cool mix. And the last two, if somebody listening hasn't heard them, the first one is Volume 1, Fuck the Police. The second one is Volume 2, Punch a Nazi. The first one is all rap music, predominantly West Coast. Older school kind of stuff, most of it. And then the second one is punk and hardcore kind of stuff. So
There's a little bit of everything in there. You got a little bit of everything. There's punk, there's industrial, there's all kinds of, there's even ska, there's a little bit of reggae influence, everything. You got everything in there, plus hardcore punk.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. It's all mixed in it. Even has some rap songs in that one. Yeah. That's punk rock. You just do what the hell you want. And it's always good. So yeah. So now we've talked about everything. Oh, there might be another My Non-Objective Opinion coming out in the next week or two. And we have some videos coming out pretty soon. So I know I keep saying it, but it's getting closer. It takes me time to edit and put everything together. And like I have 6 months or more of footage I haven't released, so it's a lot of stuff to go through. So bear with me; it'll be coming out eventually. So yeah, this year, 2018, that's what we're kind of talking about today. Tangent Con. Oh, speaking of tangents, for anyone in LA or not in LA who knows who Jeremy White, the activist, is, he was arrested. This fits in, Glenn, because it happened in 2018. He was arrested a couple weeks ago Maybe it was just last week. I don't know. It was really recent though, for chalking on the sidewalk, and they're trying to charge him with a felony. But if you've seen our streams from the Black Lives Matter AIM protest in Hollywood last week, Jeremy was out. He was at the protest. He he's he says he's confident they're going to drop the charges eventually. They're just trying to, make his life difficult and hard as they can for a while, because that's what they do. So hopefully he's right about that. Um, but just the fact, chalking on the ground, you get arrested and charged with a felony. That's kind of ridiculous. So, yeah, if you know him, give him some support. You know, even if it means if he has a trial, maybe showing up in court to support him or whatever. That might be pretty awesome. Like I said, I'm real tired, so I know I'm saying everything more monotone than normal. But yeah, you could follow my timeline if something changes or whatever. If I get information about how to support him in court or whatever, I'll post it and we'll re-announce it on another show. So I guess that's that about that part of 2018.
So, what is the jurisdiction that he's charged? Is it like the DA of LA County or what?
I guess I would assume.
Fuck. Yeah, that's the thing that blows me away about the way it works in the States with district attorneys. It seems like the law.
LA City though, not county. I mean, I don't know. They're all
Oh, okay.
county, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's cut up there, but yeah, that makes sense. But still, like is the office that Garcetti had, right? That office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's Los Angeles, not L.A. County. But still, I mean, what blows me away is it's almost like some laws are different in different district attorney jurisdictions. It's just, I don't get that. It's fucked. They have different priorities. They almost get policed different. You know?
Well, the thing is, since your right to protest is legal, right? Because of the First Amendment, they have to find other reasons to arrest you. So things that aren't crimes, they'll try to make into crimes or
Yeah.
pretend like you're assaulting or interfering or doing this or that when you're really not. Like a cop might bump you into another cop and say, "Oh, you bumped that cop. Now you
Yeah.
assaulted him." Things like that or whatever. They're crooked as they come. And
There.
the reason that people were protesting this last time when I saw Jeremy after he was out, and the time he got locked up, I believe, was because the police are murdering people nonstop. And even not police, the security guard in that Walgreens murdered that guy, shot him in the back for, well, they say stealing a $2 item, but he was still in the store. So
Yeah.
until you leave the store, you really haven't stolen anything, right? So he shot this dude over a $2 item in the back. Um, and he was a security guard. He hasn't been charged with anything. And protecting his identity. Like, why do you need an armed security guard at Walgreens? That doesn't even make sense. So then, right across the street from that is a 24-hour fitness where the police killed a dude naked in the locker room. No weapon. They just shot him to death. So that's why the people were out there protesting recently. And that's why he got arrested for chalking. But nobody's arresting these cops. They'll probably be justified on both of these.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that like, oh, I think they'll be justified. I mean, as crooked as it is, as wrong as it is, the cops are always justified. Like 9.99999 times out of 10. And the
And
security
these
guard, like, what the hell? He's not a cop. They shouldn't. I mean, the pictures of me has like a pretty fashy haircut. That's already a big, you know what I mean? Warning sign.
Yeah. Well, he's a corporate cop. But the police killings, that's LAPD?
Yes.
All right.
But these cops kill people all the time out here in the United States, in LA too.
Well, I have seen a couple articles where people are starting to mention this is starting to look like 92, 93 down there, you know? Like, people better wake the fuck up. I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't know if it's getting that built up, you know? I'm not there, but I mean, even when you start seeing those articles, you know that's the direction it's got to be going.
Yeah, I think things will be different this time in a lot of ways with the police tactics and the people's what they would be doing.
Well,
Like,
it should.
I think people are a lot more people because of the internet are a lot more knowing as to what's going on. So where it might be a free for all as part of it, a lot of people will be doing other things because they're mad at the system, they're mad at the cops, they're mad at. Whereas the other thing, you know, everybody was mad at the cops, but nothing was like it wasn't the same. That was the first time anyone had seen anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, and the police were kind of scared at first. Once the military came, it was scary and bad. But I think it'll be like that from the get go. The military kind of, because the police are more militarized now than they were back then. So
Oh, yeah.
it's gonna be way different than it was back in '92. If something jumps off, the police are the enemy. They're not just some dummies in the street that we can ignore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be something different, and that's a good thing. I mean, if you're gonna rob a corporation, you should be doing it for the right reasons, and you should know who your enemies are and whatever you're doing. If you're gonna burn down a building, don't burn down one of your neighbors. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Little small businesses. Go burn down the corporate stuff. Burn down the banks. Burn down, whatever. Loot them and burn them down. It's kind of what they do with us in our lives, right? Loot us and burn us down. Yeah, I mean, do it right. Do it organized. Rolling caravans deeper than the police could be. Think smart, because it's not going to be a cakewalk.
Okay, since we're official tangent show, how different are things going to be in California come 2020 election season from how they've been before? It seems to me that there are a lot of hardcore Republicans in California, and they seem to be getting a lot more ink than they ever used to get. Is California going to be the real battleground for the next election in the U.S.?
I don't know. I think they're just louder and they get more media coverage.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just guessing because when they come out here, man, there's not many of them. There's like 20, 30. There's never hundreds of them or anything.
Okay.
Or maybe those are just the loud, vocal, violent ones, and the rest of them just hide, kind of. I don't know. I don't know. You know me. I don't really care. Democrats, Republicans.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the same to me. You got a fascist in charge. It's the lesser of two evils and slower way to fascism. And maybe these people aren't as racist or something. Yeah, whatever. It's stupid.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I get that. But, I mean, it's so hard to know what's going on. Number one, because distance. Number two, because who the fuck do you trust with media anyway?
You trust People's Radio. Tune in all day, every day.
There you go.
No, but I think they're way outnumbered out over here, man.
Huh?
They have small pockets. Like if you go to Orange County or Riverside, you'll see more of them in different areas. But it's not like it's hard for them to get a big gathering of people.
But then you do get pieces of shit like Daryl Issa, who gets sent to Congress from California. You know, it's like, it seems when California sends a Republican, oh, it's a real fucking winner.
Yeah, what's that dude that just got out of jail and is trying to run for office, and he's talking about Orange County, Anaheim out here is a great place for Republicans to run.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Papadopoulos, what's his name?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about running. He just got out of jail. You're gonna run for office? That's pretty appropriate.
What a farce. That's like
criminals in office anyway.
That's like G. Gordon Liddy getting out of prison and trying to run for state office right away. You know, like, you're a fucking crook, man. Hit the road.
No, but he worked in politics already. So that's like a bank robber getting out of prison and getting a job at Wells Fargo or Bank of America. It's like, come on. It's just stupid.
In another way, that is the way the world has turned, though, because, you know, all the black hats get out of prison. Well, guess who wants to hire them? Most of the time, it's the people they fucking hacked. So, you know, it's just...
Or the feds want to...
Yeah. Somebody's going to hire him who's on the other side. That's for sure.
Will they sell out? In many cases, yes.
Well, I mean, if you did time and you get out of prison, you know, what are you going to do? You're not going to get a legit job in IT unless you're going to be put immediately into threat analysis or making fucking code to prevent getting hacked. You're going to be some top-end pen tester. So, you know, it's what you know. Face it. You've probably got a lifetime NSA device monitor as part of your sentence. So, I mean, it's not like you're going to be able to hack and get away with it anymore. So take the knowledge you got and turn it into money. I mean, you know, how can you really blame them?
When they work with the feds, I blame them.
Well, I'm not saying that you have to sign up with the government. You can go to work for corporations. You can go to work for some VPN company. You can go to work for Cloudflare. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
At least they didn't have to sit in a fucking classroom for 8 years to get there. Well, if they did have to sit in prison, then I guess it may be a pretty equal trade-off.
Yeah.
But, you know. Wow, that was tangent.
We promised 100% tangents guaranteed.
Well, you did. I didn't.
Money back.
What money?
That's why I can say it with confidence. They will get every dollar back.
Okay, well, are we building a wall or?
Yeah, I mean, why don't people take the money they were going to donate to the wall and send it to People's Radio? Because if we had, like, what do they get now, 8 or 11 million or something? Where are they at now, do you know?
It's a lot.
It's nowhere near where it needs to be.
No, but it's still a ridiculous amount of money. I think the last I heard was 18 million.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's great. They got $18 million. Give it to us.
I just can't get my head around how little fucking thought people put into this. Do you think that some guy can collect that kind of money and get it to
I
the
think it's a
U.S.
scam.
government and even with that impossibility being done, to direct it to a specific project? I mean, that's like going into a casino and walking up to the cashier and saying, give me $1,000 in chips that are only for this table. They'll tell you to get the fuck out. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
people can't give large amounts of money to the U.S. Treasury. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, he said he's gonna walk into the White House or something, didn't he? Like, just stupid. But yeah, I think he's gonna walk it in his pocket.
Well, it didn't take long. This guy's got a history, shall we say, and it involves other scams and other right-wing, rabble-rousing bullshit.
Yeah, it just
So,
seems scammy from the first time I heard it. Said we're gonna raise all these billions of dollars and do this and that,
but
whatever.
that's fine. I mean, he's a huckster. We get that. But who are these fucking people who are sending all this money?
I don't know, but they
Like,
could send it to us, man. We could have like literal lunch trucks out there day and night for free feeding homeless people, and some kind of shelter, get some place. You can do a lot with that kind of money. You know what I mean?
well, I mean, I've seen the tweet from a few people. I mean, it's a side by side. And here's this GoFundMe for the wall, and it says the goal is $1 billion. And they've got like $18.6 million. And then they show the GoFundMe for Flint, and the goal is $70,000. And they've got like under 40 grand. And it's been up for
Wow,
who knows how long.
wow,
You
that's
know?
crazy. Yeah,
America, fuck yeah.
they don't care about America. They care about racism.
Oh my God. Y'all are cray, man.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But they're not gonna reach that goal. You understand that, right?
Oh, I know, but they have $18 million in a matter of days
Yeah,
for
but
something that can never happen.
that's gonna be like the peak right there. I thought maybe they get like 40, 50 million max because you're gonna have a lot of these rich people throwing in money for something like that.
It's impossible.
I don't mean the ultra rich. I mean people who, you know what I mean. Some people put in thousands or ten
It's
thousand.
it's impossible to disperse that money as it says. It cannot be done. So it's like Bernie Madoff called and said, give me some money. It's the same goddamn thing.
Then made off with it.
I just can't believe that people are that willing to give that much money to something that obviously cannot happen because it's their fucking feels. And yet Flint can't get 70K.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's super crazy. The,
2018. Yeehaw!
it must be all the people who troll me that paid some of this money. They must have put in like a million or two each. Because every Trump supporter that trolls me is ultra rich. They tell me
According
so
to them.
online. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I never met one that didn't either have the best job ever or owns their own business making millions and all this. Never met a poor Trump supporter.
Wow.
Yet when you see them in person, it's really weird, isn't it?
Well, yes and no.
I wonder why. Maybe because the poor ones that can get out in the streets just can't afford the computers like the trolls can. Because they can't be lying. They support Trump.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Christians can't lie.
Well, while we're on that, I hope everybody's got their stock popcorn because come the second week in January, shit's going to change in D.C. Going to have a whole new series of people getting their ass in a sling. Oh yeah,
The
their
lesser of
report.
the two fascist parties.
Yep. Well, it's revenge time, and
Do you
I
really think
support.
they're going to do anything?
Well, they're going to fuck with a lot of people. I think DeVos is now on the clock.
I mean, I think Trump did something really smart. He kind of insinuated that, like, I'm not the only criminal here without saying it like that. But I know stuff about everybody. And you know those Democrats are crooked too. That might be enough. If he has information or he knows people, they can all
Yeah,
bring it. And I would love it if they all took each other down. Democrats attacking Republicans back and forth, each
but
one losing
then
their jobs. That'd be awesome.
but then who's leading the charge? If they're both going to be in the defendant side of the room, who do you think is going to lead the charge to get anything done? I
We need to
mean,
get done. We need to get rid of them to get anything done. Both of them.
yeah, I know, but I mean, that's not what's going to happen. It's just like four people can be guilty of murder, but if three are indicted and the fourth one isn't, the three guys that are charged can go on the stand and say, well, that fucker was in on it too. And the Crown says, we're not charging him.
He's a snitch.
That's how it works, man. So, I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen here. It doesn't matter who the guilty Democrats are.
But
The Demo-
you think they'll be able to keep their jobs with us knowing all their dirt on all of them?
There may be some shuffles, you know. I
Yeah, these
mean,
people don't care. They still go to Catholic churches. They don't give a dang.
no.
They
I
vote
mean,
for
I'm not,
Roy Moore.
I'm not talking about a solution here. I'm just talking about what's going to happen in the game. That's all.
Yeah.
But I think DeVos is on the way out now. There will be a couple other, probably Carson too, which, you know, the more of them they can get rid of in that bullshit cabinet, the better. Even though they're the same goddamn thing. If they can get rid of those people, that's a plus.
Any of them getting, I'm in total agreement. Getting rid of any of them are a plus. Either party, don't care.
Yeah,
I just,
so
like
now,
I said a long time ago to you, Glenn, I'm worried that the next person in office, the Democrat, you know, whoever it is going to be the hero and savior to all the people. And this person will be able to get away with so much more terrible stuff than even Obama and his wonderful smile could.
well, that's always a possibility, and there is that portion out there that is quite all right with that.
That's what I mean. This guy might do so much horrible stuff, or woman, just do terrible, 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 terrible things, and they're like, well, he's not Trump, because they'll be smiling while doing it. And you know how to,
Yeah,
looking good, saying how much they care about this and that and issues, and
yeah.
their wife won't be a weirdo. She'll be a normal person that seems to care about things. And all the people will say, even though they've committed genocide 30 times over and have internment camps in the United States, they were the best president ever because they're a great person. That's how they'll do it, man. Like,
Well,
these people are sick.
well, Canada. I've always said Canada's about 8 years behind the U.S. politically, and we had our Bush, Harper, and now we have our Obama, Trudeau, and it's the exact same bullshit.
Uh-oh.
Well, you know, and
How many more years do you have before you have your Trump?
at this rate, another 5 years.
Are there really any Canadians that stupid?
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay, I didn't. I didn't know
oh
there were
yeah,
any Americans that stupid till this guy got in office. I mean,
oh
there's
yeah.
dumb people, then there's Trump dumb.
Well,
It's a whole nother
that's
level.
well, it's a whole nother method as well. So it's just a new. It's not a new game. It's just a new player that hasn't been around for 40 or 50 years. That's all. But I mean, we're seeing in Trudeau's third year going into an election year, just like Obama in his first term. People are starting to say, "Yeah, we know he's not Bush, but what the fuck's going on?" That's starting to happen now in Canada, and there's an awful lot of pushback. And the deal here, I mean, who did Obama run against for his second term? Is it fucking Romney? Is that who he
I
beat the
believe
second
so.
time?
I
Or did he
believe
beat him?
so.
I can't remember. But anyway, I mean, the conservative leader here is just, he's completely bogus. He's probably going to get taken out before the election. But it's the same goddamn point in time, just 7 years later on the calendar. So,
Wow.
you know, but I mean, everything is not quite at the same volume here as it is in the US. And, in my opinion, that's just because the entire population of Canada is about the same as California. And we're a bigger country than you guys are. So it's hard to get the market concentration to make the kind of money that this kind of bullshit makes in the US. And that's why it's quieter up here. There's just no money in it to make it louder outside of Toronto.
Yeah, it's like a sporting event, and it used to be a sporting event every 4 years. Now it's a constant, everyday sporting event.
Yeah.
That's what Trump has turned it into. And when I say sporting event, I mean it's this big, it's just this big, stupid, like an awards ceremony or something where they make a ton of money,
Yeah.
but they do it on a daily basis now. They used to have all the sets and get it all set up for the election season, and all the news stations would change and have different shows for that. Now it's like an everyday thing. It's ridiculous.
Well, kind of what you're saying is, once upon a time there was WrestleMania, and that's about it. Well, go to today and you've got 15 pay-per-views a year, USA Network television 2 weeknights every week, your own network. I mean, it's the same way.
And it's just as fake as wrestling.
It's expanded so much. It's gone into so many different avenues where they find people who, it's not called who will watch. Now it's called who will pay. Because that's what you do to see it. That's the world we have. You want to watch something, you're paying for it. Whether directly or by surrendering your data or in another way, or being bombarded with ads while you're watching it. You pay. It's not views, it's about paying. That's what's changed.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's these damn elites. And I can say that because I'm not an elite. Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump both gave little speeches about how terrible the elites were.
Yeah, whatever.
And they're both equally ridiculous. Aren't they both elites, quote unquote?
Well, it depends on your definition. Because if elite is money, then Trump is more elite than Sanders. If elite is education, then Sanders is fucking Einstein compared to Trump. So I mean, how do you judge elite?
I think both of them meant people that are above other people better. So it'd be someone in what like a
Oh,
government
okay,
position
just
would be an elite, and they both
status.
are wealthy, so they're both elite in that way. I mean, Trump might be
Okay.
more wealthy, but so yeah, the thing is, these people are idiots. They're sitting here saying, "Oh, you've got to be aware of the elites," but you're the person you're telling us we got to be aware of. You are the elites.
No, 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 not me. The other guys.
No, Sanders and Trump, two idiots. Why don't they run together and make the whole world happy?
Trump
Some
Sanders 2020.
Yeah, it'll be some 70-year-old decrepit.
Well, then they could come out like a WWE tag team, and they'll say, "And for the ticket, with a combined age of 150 years, Trump Sanders."
I thought it would just be like a much dumber version of the two old men and the Muppets.
I'd rather have those guys.
Who wouldn't? Yeah, that's my. You want to save the world? Sanders, Trump, 2020. I'm gonna have the shirts printed, or is it Trump Sanders? I don't really care. It's the same to me either way. I think that's
I'd
the winning ticket right there.
I'd still like to see some T-shirts that say Dunning Kruger 2020, because that's what's happening.
Definitely.
That's a sure winner.
And someone made shirts like that before for another year. That's or no.
No, I haven't seen him yet, but I
That's a
think.
genius.
Oh, I mean, that should sell no problem.
Oh my God, that's hilarity. All right, get your
That
Dunning Kruger 2020 shirts from Glenn, Canadian Glenn, for only $49.99 each. I figure here in
U.S.
Canada, so they're like sweatshirts.
Uh,
Canada.
only U.S. dollars, please.
You don't take Bitcoin?
Yeah, I suppose I could.
There you go. See, he'll bend over backwards for the people buying his shirts. Oh man, so what else happened in 2018? Jeremy White went to jail and got out. It was like last week. And then the police killings, and we talked about the future of what might be coming, a worse situation than previously seen as far as uprisings.
I think something else that only got stronger throughout 2018, and it's going to keep getting stronger into the new year, is the war against BDS.
That's
And
crazy right now.
it's highly organized. It's ALEC level, and there are
Certain states.
laws.
Oh, go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, there are laws flying into state legislatures all over the country. I mean, this making it a clause in a contract that you agree to never do anything to protest Israel or Israeli manufacturers seems utterly
Insane.
ridiculous to me in an independent country. You are putting someone ahead of your own industry. Why? How?
That's the terrible thing right there, but it could lead to people not being able to speak against their own country as well.
It could, but doing this puts the protection of Israeli goods above American goods.
Oh
This
yeah,
is absolutely insane. And it's unconstitutional, clearly,
and
to
it's
punish
supporting.
people.
You basically got to say I support apartheid. I support the white people, the white occupiers over the dark people in
To
order to
get a
work in some
contract.
jobs. What?
Or to get a contract with the
Or to get it?
government.
Yeah. Some
That's
some
insane.
some places to become a teacher you have to sign this.
Yep,
In
that's insane.
Texas, yeah, it's really way out. Like it makes no sense.
Well,
They're a
it's
horrible. What's next? We can't speak against Turkey or Saudi Arabia, or are they too dark? So it doesn't matter. Russia's white. Are we not gonna be able to talk against Russia or Putin pretty soon? I mean, Trump doesn't want to sanction them, right?
no.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just know Israel is known for their hypocrisy. They throw this religion card out there and say we were persecuted by the Nazis, and that's true. Horrible thing. So we can now do it to other people as long as they're not white. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to look at the creation of the state of Israel only has to look at who made up its first few governments. Members of terrorist groups. Stern, Ergun, terrorists. Flat out. So, anybody wants to tell me about the great democracy of the Middle East? Yeah, okay.
It's a white colony in the middle of Palestine is what it is. It's whatever. I mean, what? I don't know. Move them to Texas. Texas loves Israelis so much. Move them all over there. Just put them there and let the Palestinians have their land. It's like that simple. I don't get it. These cats have been there thousands of years. And these other cats come from Europe claiming to have been there thousands of years.
But the issue is all the oil in Texas is already owned by people we like. So that's why Israel has to stay there and fuck with everything. Because there's a lot of oil around.
Yeah, I mean, but it just they relate a boycott, divest, sanction to anti-Semitism.
They
But see, here's the thing: if you're complaining about treatment of people, horrid, terrible treatment of people, people living in an open-air prison, basically, right? That gets bombed all the time, no matter what. Um, People having their houses searched, Nazi tactics used all through there. Then you got to say, oh, who cares what they say? Because there's Jewish cats here that are cool. They don't, they're not occupying anybody. They're just living their lives with the rest of us. Nobody's upset with them. We're upset with occupiers who, you know what I mean? And that goes for anybody. Look at the cats that came here and slaughtered the natives and enslaved black people, took them from Africa. We're talking about the same kind of people. These Trump kind of people. None of them were good. So they just throw that around to kind of scare people like, oh, you're being a bigot. But that's not what it is. What it is you're trying to make sure everybody has equality and justice and freedom instead of just the lighter, you know what I mean?
Well, according to Israeli propaganda, you could fart and they could insist it's anti-Semitic. So there are no limits on where they'll stretch that one. So it's got no credibility with me anyway. I mean, I know what fits the definition and what doesn't. So they can...
Yeah, it's pretty common sense-ish.
Well, they just make themselves look worse, in my opinion, when they cry wolf all the fucking time. But that's what they do.
You got groups of Jewish cats that protest Israel and say free Palestine. Are they anti-Semitic too? Because they're Hasidic Jews. You know what I mean?
They're invisible to media. That's what they are.
I guess. Well, I'm just
Oh
saying,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I look at them as they just care about liberty and freedom and justice for all, or whatever they say, right? These other cats care about nationalism.
Every year in New York City, there's a march of Hasidic rabbis, and they have hit 10,000. Can you imagine 10,000 Hasidic rabbis in a march? And
Protesting Israel. Yeah,
they are against the state of Israel.
yeah.
How come that's not on every newscast there is?
It gets a little blurb.
Yeah.
I think last year or this year, it only got a blurb because the police pushed one of them, he pushed them back or something.
Yeah, there was some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the only reason it even got a blurb. But yeah, I mean, are you going to tell me they're all anti-Semitic? I mean, because
No.
they're they're Jewish cats, they're kosher. You know what? They follow the religion more than a lot of
Yeah.
these other cats, and definitely probably a lot more than any of these cats running anything in Israel. Like
Well, that's the dividing.
a Jew in
That's
Israel is like a Christian Republican or something. You know what I mean? It's like,
well,
yeah,
that's
I'm gonna use the religion, and I'm gonna get people to like me, and I'm gonna pretend like I'm this, but I'm really a politician. I'm really an evil warmonger. I mean, really a racist piece of crap. Just like here, I'm gonna use this to get these people, these sheep. You know, same
but
game, different
that's
religion. Erdogan's using Islam to do the same thing in Turkey. You know, it is how it works. These cats get a religion and use it, and then if you're against them, you're against the religion, right?
well, that's the dividing line, though. Zionism, and you know, you can be anti-Zionist, and it doesn't make you anti-Semitic at all.
Exactly. That's the best way to say it.
You know, and of course, according to all the propaganda, you can't separate the two. Well, of course you can. You know, of course you can. There are demonstrations of Palestinians and Israelis together for peace. They're not huge, but they're happening all the time in Israel. Where's that on the American news? You know? How come nobody ever hears from Miko Peled and guys like him and Gideon Levy? Famous, respected Jewish journalists that have nothing good to say about the state of Israel. How come?
Anti-Semites, every one of them.
Self-loathing. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I guess that means they have a soul. But, you know, yeah, oh yeah, we're fucking Tangent City, man.
As promised. No one's getting money back today. So yeah, another so speaking of, well, we've been talking about racism pretty much nonstop, cop killing, Palestinians, terrible treatment. This happened again with the a black dude sitting in a hotel. Just did you hear about it? A day
Yep.
or two ago. And this dude Earl, a security guard, comes up to him and tells him basically he has to leave or explain what he's doing there or something. And these white people are walking by. Earl's not questioning any of them. Just worried about the black dude. Like, and I think that's a real 2018 thing, and I hope it stops in 2019. Is these people calling the police on black people that are doing nothing.
Yeah. Breathing while black.
There's another dude I seen. I don't know if it was new or old. It was this white dude in Texas in a department store, and he was screaming at these Arab women.
That was in Texas.
Yeah, he was like, "Just speak English. Just speak English." And then he's like, they were talking bad about me in Arabic. And then the dude's like, "Do you speak Arabic?" And he's like, "No." Isn't how do you know they're talking bad about you?
Yeah.
These racists are dumb. It's so funny.
He stood there and said, Arabs and Democrats, go back where you came from.
I wonder who he voted for.
Yeah, it's pretty mysterious.
Yeah, a guy pulled a gun in. Did we already talk about that? A guy pulled a gun in a mini
That was in
market.
Florida. Florida.
He went in to buy 2 packs of cigarettes for $10. They raised the price to $11. And this psychopath came in with an assault rifle over $1. Like, go somewhere else, man. Like, what's the big deal? Man, he
Well,
waving that thing around, people all in the store ducking, and he gets arrested.
see, this is the thing I just can't comprehend about the United States. Not only is it, you know, not against the law for this guy to have an assault rifle, there were 25 rounds in his clip. Why should anybody be allowed on the street with 25 rounds in a clip? Even the regular cops don't fucking do that.
California, I think it's 10. It's
Well, 10, fine. Yeah, I can see that because there are some ammo loads and frames that, 10 in a clip.
You might be a bad aim 9 times out of 10.
But I mean, this is just insane. It's only a matter of time. We know it. I mean, I don't know if it was the guy seemed almost like a Canadian on acid. He was pissed off. He had all this lethal force in his hand, but yet he harmed nobody.
But he terrified a lot of people.
Yes, but he could have killed everybody.
Well, I'm glad he didn't. I really am.
I'm almost surprised. I just didn't. The first time I saw the video, it was like, watching a trailer for a fucking slasher movie. It's like, when does it happen? When does it happen? And he didn't.
Oh, see, I already read the article that he had been arrested before I watched the video, so I already knew how it ended up.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, that's probably what the difference was. Yeah, I just watched it like, what's wrong with this crazy fool? Hey, that one dude was gangster with it. He kept getting his groceries paid and walked out right past the rifle.
Yeah, I did notice that. A couple people were standing in line and they're like, no, fuck this, check out, take my shit, I'm out.
Yeah. He kept aiming it around. But yeah, you don't want to turn your back on the dude.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a really weird, because the same people that you always see killing people, mass shootings, have the guns in their hands, are always the ones talking about how violent other races and people coming over the border are, as they're sending death threats to Democrats and foreigners and all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just such hypocrisy. And the media doesn't really show that.
No, see, that's part of that anticipatory obedience. You know? I mean, they every once in a while when they want to scare you and talk about the other side, they'll tell you about sleeper cells and shit like that. Well, that's exactly what these fucking people are. Yeah. It's just that they're not being triggered by Islam. They're being triggered by the orange fucking turd.
Yeah, I think he knows.
Sure he knows.
I mean, I know people are like, he doesn't understand how irresponsible. I think he does. I think he doesn't care. I mean, he hates journalists. Someone going to walk in and shoot up 5 journalists or send bombs to the enemy of the people, CNN, quote unquote.
And he does nothing.
Yeah, because think about it.
No, he just doesn't.
He's got better than an army. He can just have random people risk their whole lives, go to prison forever or die to kill for him or threaten for him. You know what I mean?
Like Manson?
Exactly. No, that's what I was going to say, like some kind of cult leader. Yeah. It's crazy. And he knows it. That's why he says this, because he knows if he keeps saying the same thing, eventually one of these whack job supporters of his is going to do something.
He's trying to turn it into a weapon that he can use to his advantage. And yeah, I think he is aware of it, but he just doesn't feel any responsibility for it. He looks at it. He looks at it. If they're dumb enough to do it, well, fuck them.
Well, Trump supporters are racist, which makes them not very intelligent. There's not many intelligent racists. There's pseudo-intelligent racists, you know? But Trump is like, he knows he's got this dumb base and they're gullible and they idolize and worship him.
Well,
And that's just dangerous. I mean, he already said a couple times now the people will rebel, the people will revolt if I'm taken out of office. And we've talked about this before. It's going to be like small little groups doing things in scattered places. Although, I want to say this, Glenn, what did kind of scare me a little, did you see his trip to Iraq on, when did he go, on Christmas or something?
yeah, this last week.
Nobody was really talking about what bothered me. Everyone was like, he outed some special military guys. Who cares? Um, the the thing that bothered me the most was these cats had Trump flags and Trump hats and Trump gear, and they
Yep.
were cheering for him and smiling and hugging him and shaking hands and taking selfies. You think these
Yeah.
people ain't going to attack the people if it comes down to it? That just reassured my thoughts that the majority will. Everyone's like, no, they won't attack the people. Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Well, if you want to talk about that, that's just not the way that works either. I mean, they could not get deployed to any domestic action. You know, it all depends on whether they get put up to the front line or not. I mean,
I understand that, but I'm saying somebody with that mentality that loves this racist so much, they're so happy to see him. They buy his stuff, and they're in his military.
well, I mean, it is a volunteer army. They are bitching about losing people, which in the long run is their own fault. But so they're willing to tolerate more than they used to. And are there, whatever you want to call them, fascists within the military? Of course there is. Every military has fascists in it, for Christ's sake. That's kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works, you know, where you been. But, you know, not everybody can get by with a Praetorian Guard. It just doesn't work like that anymore. But the thing about that trip that got me is there will be a head or two that will roll up the chain of command for doing that. Because the high command is really not impressed with that display of political opinion by people in uniform. That is simply not supposed to fucking happen, ever. So, we'll see, you know, we're not going to hear about it, but you'll be able to tell by who gets fired or who gets moved in command how this happened. And, you know, if we ever see enough information, I'm sure it might tie in with some other things that have gone on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
I just thought it was just a stunt, that's all. And he landed on a secure American base, was there for 3 hours, and left.
He was terrified.
And
You see the speech he gave?
And now the government of Iraq says, you know what? We want you guys to get out. Because it is, in the world of diplomacy, it is a middle finger to fly into somebody's country, land, inspect your occupying force, and leave without talking to anybody in the government there, you know, like that is a pretty big fuck you. And I don't know if you guys see the same talk about it that I do being outside the U.S., but there are people who are saying, well, isn't that just lovely? You know, the U.S. doing that to anybody, especially a place where they have so much of their own interest. All this talk for over a decade about building the Iraqi infrastructure, the government, the democracy. And then Trump just fucking flies in, has a little fucking party, flies out, doesn't even send him a notification. And other countries are saying, so, yeah, the U.S. is real trustworthy, for sure. You know, it's a little stunt that works in the moment for his political agenda. And there are, you know, people in Washington going, Jesus fucking Christ. I guess we won't be extending that base agreement with this country, you know, shit like that. This fucking guy in charge just has no clue what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm all for pulling troops out of everywhere and dismantling the military, so works for me.
Yeah, but I mean, we're going to see here right away the consequence of putting people in and then not being responsible when you pull them out. Because this is going to turn out pretty ugly in northeast Syria. Doesn't matter what happens now. This is going to get ugly. But, you know, they keep talking about 2,000 Americans are coming home. Well, it was only a few months ago that in a press briefing at the Pentagon, they kind of let it slip that there's 4,000 there. So, you know, what's going on? So half of them are coming home?
That's what he did. He did the same thing with the southern border troops he sent there. It's like, we're going to bring the troops back, and then he brings like 1,500 out or something and leaves a bunch. I don't know what the whole thing is. I don't understand what he's doing.
I think what might happen is the regular army and the National Guard will come home, but special operations ain't going nowhere. And there could be 2,000 AFSOC troops over there, easily. They could have Ospreys, attack helicopters over there. Who fucking knows?
For what? I mean, I don't get it.
Well, it's what they do, man.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, these are troops or contractors? Like Blackwater or something, or a mixture? Like, is there no way to tell?
No, that's a whole nother thing. They're not even on the books when the Pentagon speaks.
Oh, so there could be way more people over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, the show I did not too long ago with John Nichols, we talked about that, and he said, he has no doubt that the number of contractors for, say, NATO countries in one way or another in Iraq, there are definitely more contractors than there are military personnel.
Wow.
So that really doesn't matter whether you're talking 500, 5,000, or 50,000. If you're more than them, then that's really all that matters. You know what I mean?
There's like rogue killers out there doing whatever they want, pretty much.
Well, there's a lot of different functions that the military just doesn't do anymore. Especially in a foreign country like that, you know? Because there's so many people now that are in for one tour. They say, yeah, no, I'm good. You know? It's like, fuck this. I ain't doing this no more. But contractors sign a contract, and get paid a hell of a lot more than the people in the military.
They're mercenaries.
And they have freedom that you don't have when you're in the military. and they set up contacts. They have long-term agreements, they're actually in the community. They're not on a base. There's so many more advantages. It turns
Less
it into,
accountable as well.
oh yeah, and it turns it into a profitable career for some. And like everything else, you monetize it. Of course you're going to get the best people. And this is something else we talked about too that John brought up. There are definite teams within the Army, within the services. There's your A team. Those are the guys that you want. If there's a fight, those are the troops you want in a fight. There's your B team. And mostly the difference is it's because of the duties, support duties. There are thousands of people who spend their entire career in the military in a warehouse or in a kitchen, but they're still soldiers. That's the B team. And then the C team is the recruits. And when the A team starts checking out to go work for contractors at a rate of over 60%, you don't have an A team for long because too many people fuck off and go private. Yeah, it creates a real problem, especially when you don't bring people home. So, there could be a certain amount of thought within the Pentagon that we need an excuse to roll people back because we can't support it anymore. It's going to turn into a disaster. We don't want to wear it. Or this could be Trump's idea, and there are some that say, yeah, okay, fine, yeah, let's do that. But as we know, State Department and APAC and everybody else, they don't want the American Army coming home. Fuck no.
Hey, I'll be honest though, this is the one good thing Trump is doing, is keeping his predecessors' promises. The lies Obama told, how he was gonna, if he got elected, he would bring the troops home.
Yep.
I don't know if you recall that, but yeah, those troops never came home. He would shut down Guantanamo. Maybe Trump will do that. I doubt it, but
no, he won't.
Maybe he's just trying to show like Obama's a liar, but I'm going to do everything he said he would do that he didn't do. Well, I undo everything he did.
Well, everybody's going to try and look for a common thread in all these seemingly unrelated decisions, and there's gonna be one. There's got to be one. And there's an awful lot of people that says it has something to do with the Russian Federation, but that's speculation. I'd also like to know what the fuck the U.S. is going to do for Canada in this war with the People's Republic of China for having people in jail. Since we arrested the chief financial officer of Huawei.
Well, oh yeah, I don't know how to say it.
On a U.S. warrant, and then suddenly 2 aid workers who are Canadians are picked up and thrown in jail. We'd like to know where the fuck the U.S. stands on this, and they've done absolutely nothing. All we get is the orange turd saying this could be an advantage in trade negotiations. So the lives of foreign nationals are now chips in a trade negotiation. Yeah, we trust you guys, for sure.
Hey, you need to have a lot of faith in King Trump.
Jesus Christ.
That's who he is, Jesus Christ and Trump.
I really don't know why we executed that warrant. There are some in the, shall we say, pundit class who said this would have been a good time for Canada to demonstrate accidental administrative difficulties and just not arrest her. Face it, that happens every day. There are people with warrants that don't get busted for them every day. from top to bottom. So it could have happened. Would have avoided a big fucking problem, I'll tell you that. I don't know what they're doing now.
Yeah, it's
10 million.
ridiculous. I mean,
$10 million cash bail.
I don't really care about these rich billionaires, CEOs, and all that. But yeah, using them like a pawn like this could be dangerous.
It doesn't send a good message, man.
Like, I'm more for, like, let's get rid of all the billionaires and rich ones, but not, yeah, I see it. Yeah, they're using the billionaires and millionaires and politicians are using each other against each other.
Well, I mean, just look at the history, though. I mean, countries like Canada and France and the UK and some Scandinavian countries, over the years, they've all used their embassies to get Americans out of someplace. You think that's going to keep happening if this is what the U.S. government does?
No.
No, it shouldn't.
I agree. I don't.
You know, and there are professional diplomats that are like, oh my God, what is this fucking idiot doing? You know, but hey, whatever. It's all about Fox and Friends. So don't worry about it.
It's all about big ratings, big ratings. So yeah,
My God.
there's something else I was thinking we should bring up, but I don't remember what it was. Too stoned and tired. But before
Maybe
we go, go ahead. What?
I was going to say maybe we covered it then. That's what you say.
Yeah, maybe we already covered it. Oh, you know what it was? Thank you for because Nolan isn't here. We miss you, Nolan, if you listen to this.
Yes. Happy New Year, Nolan.
Yeah. But I know Nolan wanted someone to say that Kevin Cooper is having new tests done, and they're looking back into the case again. So that's good news. Hopefully he'll be exonerated.
Yep.
And hopefully that means he can get released. You know how sometimes they still hold people and do weird things. So,
yep.
Hoping the system works for the people for once instead of for the BS. But yeah, before we wrap up, anything you think? I mean, just looking at this, that you think is educated guess / prediction of what's going to happen in next year before the 2020 elections? Anything big or crazy that you think you can see? Like a president getting arrested or World War V, or I don't know.
Well, remember that I kept saying that we have to wait for the midterms. So we had the midterms, and we're going to see the House completely flip. We're seeing more resistance in the Senate than we saw in the first 2 years. We saw that with the wall vote, despite the Republican majority. So I think the establishment is getting tired. He is simply too reckless to tolerate. He's going too far. He's going too many directions. So I think the first 6 weeks of the new Congress will decide what happens if we go to 2020 election or not.
Couldn't get my mute button clicked. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Because I don't know. Like we talked about earlier, I think you had valid points, but I know how crooked these people are, and I know none of them want that domino effect to hit them if they start. Like we've said many times on the show, it's a slippery slope from getting one rich, corrupt politician to getting more of them.
But that's one.
Rat each other out. That's what?
But that's one side effect of it being so polarized. You're either red or you're blue. And the blue guys are going to have the hammer. And that's the way that works.
That's true.
You know, I mean, you can tell because look how Gorsuch couldn't even get the time of day to get on the fucking Supreme Court, and look at the clowns that Trump's putting on there with absolutely no problem when it comes to a vote. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But oh wow, I forgot what I was going to say. What a drag.
You're a tired stoner like me.
Oh wow, what was it? Shitty. It was on this subject too. Wow.
When you know you had a good point is when you forget it.
Yeah, okay, what he said. Wow. Oh well, it's gone. I can't think of it. Shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
kind of fits for the end of 2018 right there.
A lot of forgetful BS. And really racist. They just stop pretending not to be racist this last couple of years.
I remember now.
Go ahead.
2019 in Canada is going to be the ugliest, most underhanded political year in the history of Canada.
Oh, I hope you're wrong.
Oh, I'm not wrong. It's guaranteed.
I hope it's all hugs and kisses and friendship, and let's do whatever the people want us to.
No, I said Canada, not Jamaica. Not Fiji.
Okay. See, anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Happy New Year, people.
Yeah, Happy New Year, people. And we'll see everyone next year on a show with actual topics. And that's that. Thank you for listening.